You have 68 wins. You cannot 69 Mina.
I am that reminder that no matter how far you get in life, there's going to be someone like me, born with much more than you do, who can cash in and take it all away at any moment.
Now, you know what? Now, I don't know who you've been talking to, but it's obvious that you hadn't talked to me. I pull rank around here, and everybody better remember that.
Ooh, follow the white rabbit.
The mask has been removed, but I tell you what, he's still the same pro wrestler, whether he's wearing a mask or not.
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother.
Whoa!
We got a mom in the front row who taught her daughter how to suck dick.
None of you can handle Tekla. None of you can handle the Sisters of Sin. And none of you silly bitches can handle the Triangle of Madness.
Oakley has Trey. Look at the speed, the rotation, the impact.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome once again to the Saturday Shenanigans, hosted by yours truly, the Renegade J.J. Williams. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. CM Punk drama bullshit to the side. I still consider Hangman the worst AEW champion they've had. First of all, we're going to bring in Walter Cruz.
I said that as a joke when, what's his name, did his promo Monday. He said, I'm from a prestige university. I said he majored in Steiner, man.
We've got the Heb man, James Hebert, in the house.
I do really cool in dumb things. Mutants.
Right. A lot of shit going on here. A lot of fucking crazy ass shit.
Where is Noah JD? Well, say his name and he appears, because we believe in Noah Foster.
Fuck is this intro? It is one of those things where as fans, we do have these desires for what we want to see, but sometimes you can't always get what you want, and there are reasons you truly don't get what you want. I wouldn't even listen to this in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. What the fuck is this shit? God, rap is whack. Like I said, never been a greater time to be a wrestling fan than with more companies in a more lucrative spot, in a more comfortable business spot, in a sense of mind, it seems, than ever. Again, WWE is not the only one. It is not the end-all, be-all. So let's go back to the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams to get the official word. JJ, speak!
Make sure you tune in every week, because you never know who's going to drop in to join the shenanigans. Catboy is in the house.
Hello, my internet family. I say if you want to make them as evil as possible, make them really mad.
We have Mansfield joining the party now. What is going on, Josh?
Like I told no one when we were in Cleveland, him joining Chase U was just an unfortunate side effect of my shenanigans towards you, JJ. I know how it can get better, Noah. The panel chooses you.
Shut the fuck up, Josh.
He said that so like.
We got so many intro back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just think how you and I had lunch together the other week.
That was different.
Ladies and gentlemen, the King is here. Say his name and he appears. We believe in King A-Train. There are so many believers in Joe Hendry. The only person on this panel that doesn't believe in Joe Hendry is King A-Train. Tell the world why you do not believe in Joe Hendry.
The reason I do not believe Joe Hendry is he is Fandango 2.0 in a entrance merchant. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Hey! What's something wrong with being an entrance merchant? He
He has some of the best entrances of all time.
Teleporting into the command center, all the way from Angel Grove High, Datilla.
Oh, yeah. I went to the command center on Thursday. I went to Vasquez Rocks, which is where they filmed a lot of episodes. Somebody actually climbed to the very top of those rocks. I made it halfway. I was like, I'm not going up there. Definitely Toni Storm versus Mariah May. That's the one match I probably am looking forward to the most. I really like the story. I'm familiar with all about Eve, so if it plays out that way, I kind of know how this is gonna go.
Say goodnight, Datilla.
Good night.
James, you did say his name. So he shall appear, ladies and gentlemen, the first time on the Shenanigans. Jeff Meacham is in the motherfucking house.
Ah! All right, we're coming in hard with the botch. All right, fucking hell. It's good to be back. It's good to have an opportunity to talk to the crowd on a Saturday. If you want to have yourself stomach through it, you can go back and watch when the Main Event Mafia took over Impact. That's what James is talking about. So if everybody just joined us, we're talking about people sedating people, attempted murder, boys, and tips. Welcome to Saturday Shenanigans, everybody. Aren't you glad I'm back?
Welcome back, Jeff.
Cool.
Get it? Got it.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome once again to the becoming all too frequent midweek shenanigans here from the Simply Reliable Studios. It is I, your moderator extraordinaire, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, joined by the four horsemen, it seems, here of these interviews. Mr. Reliable Walter Cruz, the He-Man James Hebert, Nick.
Just
yeah.
Nick.
Yeah, just Nick.
Just Nick.
And we are being joined by our very special guest this evening, coming to us from Second Wrestling. It is Rabbi Fine. How are we doing tonight, good sir?
Good sir. Woo-hoo!
I'll take an applause. My congregants don't even applaud for me, so we'll take that.
Oh, there you go. Listen, buddy, from that first, I tell this to every guest, but from that first message, that first interaction that I had with the profile, you become family. So you get that and so much more, brother. That and so much more.
So how are you doing tonight, good sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. We are all in on this. Although I don't know if people saw the news, but unfortunately Ryan Clancy is hurt. So we have lost our. Well, we are in the process of reshaping our main event, but no, it's good. We have an amazing card. Even if we don't replace Ryan specifically, we have plenty of people who are in these rumbles and these scrambles who can step up. It's a loaded card in a way that only WrestleMania week allows you to have.
Yeah, 100%. You know, part of what we were going to do here was preview the card. I definitely want to get to the Ryan Clancy thing here momentarily when we get to that.
Sure.
First thing we ask all of our guests, though, is how did you discover professional wrestling? What made you fall in love with it originally? And then to kind of follow on with that, what made you get into like promoting a wrestling company?
Yeah, those are very different. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. I did a mean, ravishing Rick Rude, but it was really the story of the Mega Powers that captured me. I probably watched that SummerSlam every week. We like found it in like a discount bin on VHS, and I would just watch it. So I've seen the Ultimate Warrior over Honky Tonk Man in 35 seconds or whatever is like 100 times. So I grew up with all that stuff. I still have my wrestling buddies downstairs. And my kids like threw them to the ground. I'm like, those are $100 pillows you were throwing. Do not touch those things.
Hands? Yeah. Ride me hands off those.
Exactly.
I still wish I had mine. I had the Ultimate Warrior one. I was a Warrior over Hogan kid.
Yeah, I have a Warrior and Macho. And then, stopped watching wrestling for a little bit. And then sad story, a friend of mine in high school from my summer camp who lived in St. Louis passed away. Very sad story. She had cancer. And we all were, all of my friends went out. It was back then, you didn't have money. You didn't have cell phones, right? So we all flew out to St. Louis. And we were stuck there, and some family friends took like 45 of us in and fed us and housed us and all these things. And they were watching Monday Night Raw. And so I was probably a sophomore, maybe a junior in high school. And I said, people are still watching this. And then I watched that first Raw and I got hooked. And and then I just, would watch wrestling forever. Never thought I'd promote. My wife, so Colt Cabana, who I've told the story a million times, but Colt Cabana grew up down the street. So he knew my wife from her sisters from high school, and we knew each other peripherally. And then for my birthday, my wife got me tickets to see him live, which I had never done. I was very excited. I was like, I've never been to an indie show. I've been to WrestleMania, Backlash, Raw, SmackDown.
Right.
And the card was crazy. Swerve was on it, Penta, but this was before they were just, some of them, Swerve had just black shorts. I don't even think he had gear at all. I looked at my wife and I said, how have I not been going to these my whole life? And so I was just telling some congregants about this. I'm a real life rabbi. This is not, it's a gimmick and a shoot. It's one and the same. And so I was telling some congregants and they said, hey, let's do this in the synagogue. And I said, that's absolutely crazy. And they said, we'll bring all these young people to the community. And we did. In our second show, we had over 400 people on a Wednesday night in a blizzard in Minnesota.
Wow.
It was amazing. That's a testament to Eric Cannon at First Wrestling, who runs I've been to a lot of promotions, the best promotion in the United States. I firmly believe that. So we were off and running. Then COVID hit. We did a bunch of COVID very safe shows, and then we did one on my way out. And as I'm on my way out, I sat with Cannon and Colt, who was on that show, and I said, "Hey, would it be crazy if I started my own thing in Chicago?" Because I was moving back home. I'm from here, and they both really encouraged me, and they've been mentors to me and helpful. Wrestle for me. Both have held championships for us. So the goal was to do 2 shows a year. This is year 5, and we are in the mid 50s. So we have surpassed what the plan was, which is just my wife to say, me to say to my wife, we're going to just do this once or twice a year for friends and family, so I can get it out of my system. And now we're doing 1 or 2 shows a month, and we've got amazing venues, amazing partners. They have a great crew. I was able to bring someone actually on a little bit this year, which is amazing. So no, we're an alternative. We're really family friendly. We play mostly Thursdays and Sundays. So for talent, like, they really do want to be with us because we created, I think, a great environment to work, and it's not your Saturday and Friday show. So if you're coming through Chicago on a loop, or you're a local wrestler, and you're booking one of the big, like AAW or Freelance, some of the big companies around here, now you get Thursday and Friday to, maybe, and Saturday, and then, maybe Sunday if you can pull it. You could work Midwest Chicago because of us. I think you can work, 3 to 4 gigs a weekend.
That's amazing. And I'm glad that you mentioned the rabbi thing being a shoot, because that was definitely something I was going to ask is that a work or a shoot?
So
does the rabbi nature of you play into why the company is so family friendly?
Well, that's 100%. Yeah. Okay. For sure. Cannon always, who has been my mentor, this always says, you got to balance the rabbi and promoter. Like, you're answering this as a rabbi, and what you really need to be is a little meaner and answer this as a promoter. But I also think I'm hopeful it's made some change in wrestling. There's a lot of people who've learned a little bit from me. There's some wrestlers who do use me respectfully to bounce life things, because listen, independent wrestling is both really exciting and can be really complicated and lonely. And if you don't have, and there's a lot of promoters who, treat you as I don't want to say an object, but they, you're a ticket to them. And while that's true for us, like we can't put people on the card who just because we want to be nice to everyone, but we also know that like we invest in our people. We always say that it is just as important to me that you are good backstage as you are in the ring. And those who can't figure both of those things out usually don't last very long with us.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you're able to do that and be family friendly. So I'm the joke guy and the pun guy. So just when you get a TV deal, make sure you rate it K for kosher.
Good.
I like that. I like that. I actually had to tell the guys, we usually get a little bit rowdy on this show. That's why it's called the Shenanigans. It's just in case this guy is legit a rabbi, like let's keep our language,
Here's what I'll tell you. I could probably still chug a beer faster than all of you. So I wasn't always a rabbi. But listen, I think it's a good blend. I think independent wrestling or niche communities need spiritual guidance. And I think spiritual guidance needs niche communities. And so I've learned a ton about dealing with people. I've learned a ton about business. I've learned a ton about a growing community, advertising, all of which has come back and helped me as my shoot job as a rabbi. I did ask Cannon, this was I said, but I can't, everyone's got a name. I can't be rabbi. He goes, you're Googleable. Like people can Google you and see what you do for a living. You can't change it. You're our stock. So I was like, okay, that's, like Logan Paul is Logan Paul because you can't just be the Maverick. Right. So yeah, there's some complexities there, and it took my community a little. In Minnesota, they were very supportive of it. Here, some have been really supportive. Others struggle to see like what the value in is in it. It's a great balance. I mean, no one should be so removed from the world just because of their professional job. I don't care if you're clergy or an accountant or if you're just doing numbers and you don't look at the person whose books you're doing, like you're probably missing a big part of the story.
That's awesome. Fair enough. James, I know you had a question. Go ahead, bro.
So I have a comment and then a question, because it's so funny you mentioned about like how people said you needed to be a little bit meaner. Like you can't be on the fence between being a rabbi and which is a nice guy, and then being a promoter who's usually an a-hole. It's so funny because like recently, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's so timely that the Tony Khan podcast interview with Vince Russo happened, him saying the exact same thing. And it's just, no matter how big or small, I think it's now becoming the opposite. And I think that's really good that you're doing that in that regard, because, no matter how big or small, maybe being a nice guy doesn't always make you finish last. And I think that should be encouraged more, especially nowadays in today's society. It's really, really refreshing.
I appreciate that. Actually, we have not spoken about wrestling, but Tony Khan, when I was a high school basketball coach, was the manager of my team in Champaign-Urbana.
You're kidding, really?
So there's a deep connection. I know that we've spoken through people, to people, so have good memories of him. And but he was in high school, so he was not running AEW or the Jacksonville Jaguars at the time. No. So I got a question for you. That you've got like 12 different teams you're rooting for up there, and I'm a little confused by the Red Sox.
What are you doing?
No loyalty.
Listen. Buccaneers is just Patriot South, man. It is what it is. Especially after Brady went down and Gronk and everybody. Yeah. But no, that's when I got this hat, by the way, just for reference. Because I will always appreciate what Brady did for us up here in New England. But to the thing earlier, and you mentioned, Colt Cabana, and I feel, especially like in later years, I think he got wrapped up unintentionally with the whole drama that surrounded him back in like 2022. And then in 2014, that whole thing. But I would like to do the opposite, because I think a lot of people don't see this side or hear this side about Colt Cabana. What has your experience been like with working with Colt Cabana? Because everything I've ever heard has been nothing but nice things to say about the guy.
Oh, he's a professional. He's a great person. He's phenomenal in the ring. I can't even believe this is true. Our last big show, which was this past summer, this past month, February, it was Colt versus Effie for the first time ever. And they were electric. Colt was alive in a way that Effie brought out such an amazing side of him. People were laughing. They were crying. It was great wrestling, everything. It had everything. We'll release it eventually. But listen, in many ways, for different reasons, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Many of the people who are doing pro wrestling independently and making a living or coming close to making a living, or even then eventually got signed. I mean, there's truth to that. There may not be an AEW if there's not a Colt Cabana providing and knocking down doors, and his relationship with 1 Hour Tees and Pro Wrestling Tees, and which we also like before AEW came along. I was talking to him about branching off and doing something with them as a side. I always love to do side hustles. Like, it is what it is. Just me. I have to keep my brain that way. So, in and out of the ring, there really isn't anyone better. He deserves all the accolades. He deserves all the praise. Do I wish that Scotty Goldman would have had a little more time in WWE? Sure. I think this is insider baseball, not about wrestling, literally about baseball. There's a lot of great catchers. And a friend of mine was a major league catcher, Ryan Lavarnway, who played for the Red Sox, won the World Series with them. So Ryan was stashed away in the minor leagues for a long time because he was so good that teams wanted him in AAA to train the pitchers, but they didn't need. He was too old, and this happens. He's not alone in this. He was too old to come up sort of to the majors. He eventually did and got tenure and all that stuff and whatever. But sometimes I think what happened with Colt was he was too good for whatever it was back then, FCW, but they didn't have a spot for him on the main roster, or maybe they didn't have another comedy spot. Remember, there was an era where they like just brought you up. They gave you like a week or two of work and then they cut you, right? There was a ton of what's his name? Chris Harris from he did one match in WWE. They didn't even
he was the biggest casualty of that era. That was 08-09 era. I remember that era.
The joke became like a double disc, the best of Braden Walker, and it was like all his vignettes in one match.
Yeah, exactly. So Cole probably was just too good to be down in the minors, but they just didn't have a spot. So what do you do in a Major League Baseball or whatever? Maybe you stash them, but eventually you have to cut them or someone's going to pick them up. With WWE, they were the only game in town besides TNA, and he had a great run in NWA for a while, and obviously he's done overseas. So Colt's done amazing work. He's such a locker room leader. Every time I tell someone they're wrestling Colt Cabana, their face lights up like a Christmas tree. And I'm Jewish, and I'm saying that. So, there's I know what that's like. So he's a special, special person in and out of the ring.
Really quick on Colt Cabana, and since you mentioned the NWA, as a fan and it seems like a friend of his, I'm sure you saw the 7 Levels of Hate stuff that he did with Adam Pearce back in 2010, 2011. What'd you think of that series of matches? Because I actually got to be there for match 1 and I think match 7. We're both out here in California.
I never saw him wrestle Adam Pearce live or anything. I'm a big fan of Adam Pearce. I always was hopeful that I'm still hopeful that Pearce and Aldis will get some sort of match. I think independent wrestling fans, I think that would be such a treat. Like,
yes,
I think all of us are kind of like it's not a knock on Pat McAfee. It's a knock on the spot they gave to Pat McAfee, right? Like, Pat McAfee is fun. I like Pat McAfee, but like, this is not where I want to see him. I want to see him somewhere else. So like I would like if it was Aldis or Pierce behind them, I would have been like, oh cool, let's roll and let's see these guys take some bumps, especially Aldis. Pierce maybe a little older generation. So they complement each other well. And so I imagine their battles were as advertised, and they continued to do it. I mean, you're talking about those guys, Colt, Pierce. I'm trying to think who else is who's in that like category. Eric Hannon also, like guys who really had great independent runs, who just for whatever reason didn't. And we're seeing that too. Like we were just talking about this in the locker room yesterday. Is that there's sort of like this turnover that right now we're seeing a lot of people either signed or retired in like December. So if I just look around like Chicago, Maggie Lee's doing tons of work with TNA. Lainey Luck is now WWID. She's not around as much, they're doing great work and they're still taking bookings, but it's not the same as like you're starting your indie run, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple of people that last night we had a wrestler on early on, and her cousin came to the show last night, and I was like, why hasn't she ever hit us up again? He's like, she retired. Like it just, there is a little bit of a turnover, either because guys didn't get to where they thought they'd be, or they're done. And I think luckily for Colt and for Pierce and Cannon, they all have done it differently to make a living through professional wrestling. And it may not have been as the superstar main eventing WrestleMania as they thought, but they're all like massive contributors to the world of pro wrestling. And they're all doing it differently. And there are ways to make a living as a wrestler if you're not Roman Reigns.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Cardona gets a lot of the credit for showing that you can make a living on the indies.
Yep.
But I think like Colt was kind of like the 0 point for that, the blueprint. Because if Colt hadn't been one of those guys, and like we mentioned, Pierce, and then there would have been no blueprint for Cardona to follow and expand upon.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was talking with a guy yesterday who was pitching us something, and I said, the Indies it's sad to say, but it's missing Matt Cardona because also he was reasonable, right? Like he knew who he was. He was a draw, and I said to him, I was like, even if you didn't sell the tickets you thought from Cardona, his tweet alone, his social interactions, get your company advertisement, which sometimes you have to put money into, whether that's the amount of money you wanted. So this summer we have a big show, and this is what we're talking about. I needed someone like a Cardona, but I don't know there's anyone out there. There maybe be some people who do it, like that we're not going to have. We're not going to. I mean, no disrespect to him. I'm not disrespecting him at all. But like Nick Gage is not like the family-friendly name you bring up.
No.
So he probably draws that. And our bar shows are a little more risque than our kid shows, but they're not blood and guts. They're it's just it's basically second wrestling with Effie. That's really what we do.
No, that's awesome. So I want to. We talked about what you had like. We talked about what you had this past weekend. You guys there deserve all the kudos in the world because, on Friday, you guys sent out that tweet. And this is how I reached out to you guys, seeing this tweet of you guys saying, somebody commented about supporting independent wrestling, and you guys turned around and said, a good idea. If anyone honestly lost a booking because of the Bruins situation, has hit us up on IG. We'll try to fit one more person on Sunday's show. And that show was titled Ascending on High. So that was really good on you guys. The fact that you went out of your way to do that, because really you didn't have to, right? Yeah. Like that card already at that point was stacked.
Yeah.
So you kudos to you guys for doing that. And then we'll touch on Ascending on High because I want to get your thoughts on it, how it went and everything. But we mentioned that you guys are, and this is a cool thing that I don't think I've seen in other independent wrestling, and I've been doing it a lot fewer than these guys. The fact that you guys are a friendly, family-friendly promotion. What kind of went into that decision, or what kind of gave you that inspiration to do that? Because you don't see a lot of promotions really promoting that and getting the younger kids and the families involved and getting them to watch a product that you don't have to worry about. Like you said, love Nick Gage, but you don't have to worry about a pizza cutter spot. You don't have to worry about a syringe spot. Families can come and they can enjoy. So talk a little bit about that decision and kind of your influence and inspiration in taking Second Wrestling and going into that direction.
Yeah, sure. So I knew we wouldn't just like, it's my personal preference. Like I grew up with, Hogan and Macho Man and Piper and Hennig. I'm a massive Mr. Perfect fan. So Steamboat, like those guys, those guys are what I loved. Yeah. And I think, listen, it's a blessing and the curse. The blessing is that we have a really unique crowds.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that the show before that you guys had before Ascending on High. I watched it back a little bit. That crowd was a really good crowd.
Yeah. So we have really unique crowds. We play things others. Some of the advice we got was like, and what we didn't want to do, which was a lot of people get into promoting because they're like, I want to run wrestling, which is true. I did, but I really wanted. I mean, I didn't think it would take off this way. I thought I was like gonna have my guys from Minnesota, who I, became close with while I was up there running a sort of a venue, would come a couple times a year, and I'd book them in like dream indie Midwest matches, maybe do a signing every once in a while. And what happened was we had our first bar show was headlined by Billy Starks and Chelsea Green. Ooh. And we just saw a crowd. We're like, who are these people? They weren't at our first couple shows. Like, who are we? Don't know. But they all, Chelsea was the only person we've ever booked. The second I announced her, tickets went from here to here. And she is the best. My favorite person still to this day, I think, that I've worked with outside of like my friends or close people. So that took us into a different area. So we played both. And also, like, there is enough wrestling in the Midwest and certainly in Chicago to do that. I didn't need to do what everyone else is doing. So there's a great company here called Freelance. And I say to a lot of guys, we don't want to be freelance light. We don't want to be AAW light. We don't want to be Dreamwave light. And by light, I mean like younger kid. Yeah. Like, we don't want to just replicate what they're doing. We want to do things different. So we want to give a ton of opportunities, which is one of the things we call ourselves the ring of opportunities. When we put those ring of opportunities, what we call them is like the bat call out, they are real. We respond to every DM. Some are just ridiculous, and every once in a while I lose my cool a little bit, but I always tell people it's like the 80-20 rule. 80 of these are going to be absolutely ridiculous, and 20 of them are going to be like people like, hey, this is cool that you do this. I've worked the whole Northeast. I've not gotten to. So Ryan Clancy responded when we put these things out, right? So I was like, yes, Ryan, we've been watching for a while. We didn't know you were necessarily going to be in Vegas. And so the family-friendly piece, it's coming back to it. The curse is that young families buy tickets very late. Yeah. Yes. So yesterday we didn't sell out. We were like 8 tickets short. And which, some promoters will just say is a sell, but we were 8 tickets short, and we were very light going into last Sunday. And then the tickets started, young family, because they don't know if their kid's going to have a runny nose, or they're going to be sick, or they forgot their kid's dance recital or whatever. So there is a curse there that I just was with my partner today talking about how do we maybe promote these shows a little differently than we do the bar shows, because young people could say, oh, that's a card I want to see. I'm going to buy my ticket. Families they don't care really who's in the ring. I mean, they do, they have their favorites, but like, they don't need to see, Ryan Clancy versus Marcus Mathers. I want to see that match, but like they don't need to see that match, right?
It's more of a let's just get out of the house together and
Yeah.
do something. Yeah.
They would rather me have everyone in like goofy costumes. And there are guys who just wear goofy costumes for that show. And for other shows, they're different.
Have you hired the Brothers of Construction yet?
The Brothers of Funstruction, you mean the clowns?
Yeah.
We have not had them, but they're around a lot. Yes.
I
have nothing against it. I've never met them. We would have them. I think they would be a great draw for us, and not necessarily for our bar shows too.
Yeah.
Well, so I was just gonna say to JJ's point, and then Walter, you can go after me. It just occurred to me, your buddy Colt may have an in with them, so maybe reach out. It's an idea. There you go.
I don't think I need Colt. I think one of the things you should know about independent wrestlers, they like to take bookings.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
To make money.
He also I
as
also
long as
saw
they're
him.
not injured, they like to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed he was on some of those early JCW Lunacy shows. It's almost like a big boss man gimmick, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he had that, and he has other gimmicks for other promotions. He was in what was it, Wrestling Society X, which was really cool. I don't know if anyone saw it.
Such a revolutionary show. Yeah,
that's so great, and the roster's unbelievable. Like Cannon's in that, and I always tell people, Cannon, one day I'm just going to make a poster that says, Star of Wrestling Society X, and that's how we're going to promote you.
yeah, that's Jack Evans, maybe. You never know.
Yeah, Jack Evans, Seth Rollins.
Oh my God.
X-Pac, Vampiro. There's a couple other guys who before he got in trouble, there's people before they got in trouble on there too. There's some really good talent.
Yeah, very good.
Walter?
Walter,
So,
go for it, bro.
As a promoter, when you first started out and learning the business, what do you think the biggest lesson that you had to learn to start to switch from a fan like that to I actually have to book this, I got to promote? Like, what do you think the biggest lesson that you learned was?
Well, there's a lot of lessons I've learned. I'll come back to it. There was a story where our first show went really smooth. I had no cancellations, packed house, bunch of sponsors. Our first show drew like 250 people. It was awesome. The second show drew about 200 and a little over 200, but several people canceled who were like on the cover, the front of the poster kind of people. And thankfully, I sat with Cannon and I was freaking out. And he's like, listen, you have to be the calm one. You're the promoter. It'll all work out. And guys start coming, and then you fill the spots. You DM someone who's on your first show, and you start working the back channels of like who makes sense for a match and who's reliable, who's going to give me a good match. Then you think to yourself, I can't find out who's going to go twice, right? Like, how do these things work? Are we doing a tournament? Are we making a 3-way? And you then, and so I think that was it, is like, and that's true of like being a leader of anything, whether it's a synagogue or a promotion, or like you have to be the control. You have to be the calm, or it blows up.
Yeah.
And so if you set the tone and keep it going, you'll be fine. Other lessons are please and thank you go a long way. That quote unquote, right? Please and thank yous. Like why we stopped doing that. There's other little things like I believe the best I can feed the boys. Like there's nothing better than a wrestler leaving it with a full stomach. Like they're so grateful. They're so grateful for that, especially if they've been on the road, 3-hour drive and they don't have to stop. They can just go home because you fed them. Like there's little things like that we definitely do. We talked to a bunch of promoters last summer. I spent some time going to other promotions to see how they do. Cause while I've been to other shows, either as a fan, the only, company I've been backstage with is First Wrestling. So spent some time at CCW. I went to Beyond in Boston for a night. And then I saw Wrestle Arts in Indianapolis. So I spent some time like learning, watching how other promoters do things. They all do them very differently, and tried to incorporate some of that. We've also had some great people in our locker room. There's a referee named Derek Martha, who I think is the best ref in the Midwest. It's a shame Judaism can say a Shonda that he's not signed somewhere. He's really an amazing ref. And then, David Ali, who is a former champion of ours, has been really helpful in a lot of ways. And we've had we've had people backstage who, like yesterday we were a little, what I'll say, veteran liked for us, who we usually have. I usually have either another promoter back there, who's also a wrestler, but I have them back there just as a sounding board if something happens. And I didn't have that yesterday, but I had Shaza McKenzie, I had David Ali. We had a handful of real veterans who could step up, and we did have some cancellations last minute. So,
well, to kind of piggyback off that, like I said, you guys had us ascending on high last night. Can't wait till it drops on YouTube. It's going to be a great watch. We actually, before this interview, we had Jocelyn Navarro on our show, and we interviewed her, and she actually did a little preview of her match with Frankie B, and she said such great things about her and you guys. So that was another reason why we really wanted to have you guys on.
She did not come to the show last night, so you should know you will not. When you watch it back on YouTube, you're like, "Why did the rabbi replace her?" I didn't. I mean, I did, but unfortunately, I'm not going to share her business. But we wish her the best. It's not. We're not mad at her. We're just
absolutely not.
She's not on the card. She's on the poster, but she's not on the card.
Stuff happens. So I mean, my question is really, again, talk to us a little bit about that card. Kind of what was your mindset going into some of the matches that you had? Like you had Shaza McKenzie versus Rebecca Scott. So talk to us a little bit about those. And we would definitely be remiss. We would love to kind of put over. I know that you have your world champion in Sabotage Sean
Logan.
And then you had your tag team champions in
CJ Martin and Jordan Cross. So
talk to us a little bit about those talents, because those are names that we really haven't really heard of in the scene.
So they're great. All of them are great. There's so the key to last night, two matches were sort of the headlines. The first was a rematch between the former champion David Ali and Sean Logan, who've been in a feud for about 10 months. Okay. And last night was Sean is now the champion, and is still the champion after yesterday. Controversial ending, but he is going to WrestleMania with the belt. And now looking for an opponent. So that was the key, especially because that venue had seen a lot of the buildup of that story, but didn't see the payoff because the match was at Cubby Bear, and those are really two very different crowds. I mean, some people overlap, but they're different crowds. So Cubby Bear is our city where we play in the city. And I believe it was one of the best rivalries in independent wrestling. I mean, if you go back and watch the story and how it happened and their different journeys to ascending on high, they pun intended. They really bring the best out of each other. The other was Shaza and Rebecca J. Scott. I have nothing but the world to say about both of them as wrestlers and as people. Rebecca J. Scott caught our eye. We like to bring in a lot of new people. We like to give people an opportunity to come to Chicago. We like to give a lot of people exposure. People have been hyping her up. And we brought her in, and she did great for us over December. So we basically booked her immediately for this show. And Shaza had told us she has never wrestled Rebecca J. Scott. There's nothing more than what Rabbi Fine likes in wrestling is a first-time ever match. The fact that the only time Billy Starks and Chelsea Green have ever locked up in a match, and first time ever, was in the second. I can smile every day knowing that happened in the ring.
You pat yourself on the back a little. You're like,
Yes.
yeah.
And to sit there and be like, how has no one booked it? Like Effie and Colt. I literally looked at Colt. We were looking at the card. He was wrestling someone else. And then he's like, I've never been in a singles with Effie. And I said, well, you are now. How can I not own that content?
That's awesome because we're big Effie and we're big Chelsea Green promoters here. We
Yeah.
love them both. So
They're great. So we really felt with those two matches, our regulars would be excited. And then we brought in a lot of new faces yesterday. Like I said, in December, I felt there was like a change, and which means if you are a promoter using all the people you used last year, either for whatever reason you didn't feel the change, and maybe that's a good thing in the sense that your talent is not going anywhere, but or you're oblivious to what's happening, which would not be good for you and your company. So we yesterday we saw Kevon Lee, and we will be, Kevon's already coming back for us. He's awesome. He's a student of Hornswoggle, and really a nice addition. Will be a nice addition to our locker room, and we're excited to have him back already. And then Frankie was said she was going to be in the country, so it was a little cheaper than a flight from Australia. And then right. So and then I'm trying to think about. And then Cold World, who is another tag team that Chicago hasn't seen. So this is Corey Steed, who is part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
They just came back from Japan. He was our first Ring of Opportunity. It's the first time we put out a tweet and basically said, hit us up. We want to book someone who's never been to Chicago before. And it just happened to be that we chose Corey. So he's come back a bunch. He was on our first show. He was on our first bar show. He was on that show with Billy and Chelsea. And he came back for one other show since then. He hadn't been back in a while, but he brought his tag team partner. And they're very good. Big dudes. They're diehard wrestling fans. They're the kind of guys who will drive. If they're booked in Maine and you can't fly them out, they will make that drive from Texas or Arkansas or wherever they're.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah. So Punk Rock Jocks are our tag team champions. They won the belts in February. This was their first title defense. We run a bunch of camp shows, and at the camp shows, because they're not like canon to our story really, we just kind of put on fun shows for these camps. We try new things, new combinations. Sometimes we try a main event maybe that we may want to see down the road at a regular show, or we always bring in a WWE name for those camp shows. So we give people the opportunity to be in the ring with someone maybe they've dreamt about being with. So last year, Brian Myers was with us. The year before was Colt. The year before we've done Carlito. We've done about Masters. So we've given a lot of people dream matches. So last year, Sean Logan had just a tag team behind him, and that tag team behind him was it was a trios match, and the two people behind him happened to be Jordan Cross and CJ Martin. And I watched them walk to the ring together. I watched them collaborate in the ring together. And after the show, I pulled them aside and I said, or maybe it was like a week later, DM, hey, I watched this back. I think we have something here.
That's awesome.
And I was like, please tell me you guys get along. And they're like, no, we love each other. And I was like, we'd like to put you together. Came up with the name. And which matches, because CJ's a college football player and he's the punk rock prince. So
wow.
So yeah. So and they have done some really good work over the last year, and they defeated Phobia, which was our inaugural tag team champions. And that was their first title defense against White Meat, who happens to be two of their good buds, but we wanted to get them in there. And then Sean's story, you can follow it on our, I think it's on our YouTube page, certainly on our Instagram. Sean came to help, and he came to help again. And the story is, I said to Sean, I don't have anything for another generic wrestler. And but I can give you a phone. And Sean has rode that wave, and Sean has been on WWE PLEs. Sean has, if you noticed, he was one of the he's one of Rollins's kids who was climbing that cage. Sean is booked in multiple different states now. And Sean is the second wrestling champion who is now retained over Colt Cabana, Jay Lethal, David Ali. Wow. And next week he will have the opportunity to wrestle someone really good. It will be, there's no doubt in my mind that the match will be great. And then if he survives that, we have a big, busy summer coming up. He's got plenty to get through, and I don't think David's done either. So those two who may meet again. But when there's a title change, it also means that other people are gonna look to step up, because we've never had a 2-time champion, and I'm sure David would love that. I'm sure maybe Billy Starks wants to be a 2-time champion. You never know.
Never know.
Yeah. It's some great stuff there. One of the things we usually ask the wrestlers we get on here, and we can kind of tweak the question to you a little bit from the other side. We'll ask some of the wrestlers that we get, what goes into deciding to take a booking from a company that you've never worked for before? So here we are. Now we're talking with the promoter. What goes through your head when you're booking a talent, and especially a fresh talent you've never worked before? What kind of like criteria goes through your head as you're reaching out to these talents, or as they're reaching out to you? Like, talk to me a little bit about that process from your side of things.
So, and again, I don't think we've ever left anyone unanswered. So every promoter is different. So I cannot tell you how everyone does it. I can tell you how I do it. Number one is, don't send us a ridiculous email, or I'm not watching 12 of your matches because you have 12 different gears. Don't send us a 45-minute Ironman match. We're not getting through that. And by the way, if it was an acclaimed 45-minute Iron match, I probably already saw it. So like you don't need to. But the please and thank yous, be respectful. Understand that like, we are reading it, but we are reading it like just any company. You're reading with a pile of resumes, right? Mm-hmm. Stand out a little bit, be kind, be reasonable. I can't tell you how many people we sent when we sent the Ring of Opportunity, knowing that there's like thousands of wrestlers who come to Vegas. How many people are just like, I just need transportation, and we're like, why would we book anyone who's not in Vegas? Like, you're not going to be there. Or some people said to us, like, what, after we were like, we're going to put you on the maybe list. What day is your show? Why did you, it's like applying for a job and you're like, you're applying a technology job. And you're like, do I need to know how to use a computer? And they'd be like, yes, you need to know. You need to know. So there's some of those, there's not a lot, but like, be realistic, understand who you are, understand where you are in your regular card. Right. So like, you really have to know yourself. I think wrestlers, I've proposed this to other people, like there needs to be a business sort of convention for wrestlers to help them. Depending on who their training is, sometimes they get great advice, sometimes they don't, or they, and everyone has different social skills. And so, ultimately the key is lead with kindness, keep it realistic, keep it somewhat short and reasonable. And then, we'll never book anyone unless we either know them or someone vouched for them. Okay. So understand, like, we are likely going to reach out to a promoter or your head promoter. Like if you're listed at a company, and you're on your show, right? We'll reach out to someone you've worked with, which means treat everyone with kindness, because you don't know who's giving you that recommendation or that reference. Yeah. Especially, like you said, just like a job application. What? I said, like you said, just like a job application, how there's usually a references, like who can we contact that's worked with you before that can vouch for you. Exactly. So that's sort of that's our first steps. And then ultimately, like when someone, if there is someone, like I'm not going to use the person's name, but there's someone right now who we really love working with. I don't really have much for them to do, and they don't really fit so much our vibe in the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love having this person in the locker room. This person is booked, not this person would like to be booked on every show. This person's booked on like a couple shows a year. And so like, then the conversation is, how do we present you in a set? What do you bring to Second Wrestling that I don't have? So, Kevon, I'm going to give you this example. He did all of those things. Great reference with Hornswoggle. He was polite, was realistic. He's responsive. He like, don't leave if you're looking for work, don't leave your stuff unread, right? Yeah. He was professional backstage. He was smiling. He gave me a great match. And the guy has a look. He's a big dude. He looks like he looks like he played in the NFL. Like he's a big dude. So like he gave me something yesterday that we didn't necessarily have so much on our roster, at least not regularly. So like I can find work for him now. Like anytime I want a big man match, I've got another big guy to use, So I think there's the last piece is sort of timing and circumstantial, which is like, do you fit with what we need or work at that time? And lastly, we do our best to reward people that show up. So we have this belt called the Go-Go Championship. So Sam Eli is the current champion. It's changed hands a good amount of time. It's a pre-show booking. So if you're the champion, you're guaranteed to be, as long as there's a pre-show. There are some shows that aren't pre-shows, but for the most part, there are pre-shows. And so if you're the champ, you're automatically booked. And if you don't know, and we pick from the people who come and help. That's how we plan that match. We do plan. The champion is there, and the champion does not know if they will be champion the next night. All they know is that they're defending that title against someone who shows up. And when that person shows up and helps, we then look at the group. Sometimes we make it a 4-way, sometimes it's 3-way, sometimes it's a single. It's really sort of like maybe I ask a couple guys, this person, sometimes, and so if I'm being honest, the best thing you can do to get into a company that you want to work for, and MJF has notoriously talked about this too, is to show up and help out and wait your turn and be an asset any way you can. So Celeste, who is a freelance wrestler, freelance is the training school. She showed up last show. She got the pre-show match yesterday. Jocelyn unfortunately canceled. We needed a female. Celeste was there. I've seen her wrestle. She got on the main card last night.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's how, and we're like that. And then you got to know the promoter. Like, we've had guys reach out to us for this, hey, I'd love to come work for you. We have always wanted to be out in Vegas. And I was like, we're a Chicago company. Like, we're not they're not, you've got to know do some research. You can certainly find out who the promoters are in every company you reach out to. And some guys just don't do that. They say I'm hustling because they sent out emails. But if we've had guys reach out, passport ready. I said, where are we running our shows? Where do you think we run our shows? And if there's an international tour that wants to book us, we are definitely interested. But we don't need a passport.
Stuff like that. Somebody didn't read the description of the job before they applied.
Yeah, exactly. And some people think it's just like send out as many emails, and they'll be like, it's I do the same email. I'm like, no, you need to tailor your email to the promoter, because know something about them. Hey, saw you on this podcast. Hey. They're all it's not that difficult. And there's some that are, but once you start working enough bookings, talent talks about the different companies, so they should know who the promoters are.
You gotta know how to stand out. It's like those resume classes they teach you. You gotta make your resume stand out. So it's the same thing. Stand out.
And by the way, this is a small percentage. There's, like, a lot of people are respectful, and they're even if they're generic in a way that aren't laughable. And the hustle is real, but like if you look at MJF's career, now obviously he's an insanely talented human being, but if you look at his story about how he slowly moved to get to the companies he wanted to be with and made the drives and built, and that's how you do it. And there's other ways to do it. You could just be the greatest athlete in the world. You could look like $1 billion off the bat. Like there are other ways to do it, but like this is what I think. Like this is what's really good about the WWE ID program is that it is helping. It is advocating to people to say, hey, there is a minor league, for lack of a better term, to get you in the door at the biggest company. Now grind and get there.
Yeah.
Right, because not everyone is as gifted as Seth Rollins.
Totally.
No.
So to follow up to that, like I'm trying to get in the mind of a booker. Like when you have certain cards in mind, or you're gonna think like ahead of time, do you cater or think of certain wrestlers that you want to be on there? Because like you hear in the music industry, you know, they write songs with certain artists in their head, even though sometimes it might not get to that certain artist, and then it goes to somebody else, and either way it comes out a banger. So do you ever like think of cards with certain people in mind, but then, you know, someone cancels last minute or someone isn't available, so you like, I still think it'll fit to this person, so let me reach out to them, and then it comes together regardless?
Yeah, that's exactly how. I mean, we start with the main event usually, and title matches, and also draws, and then we fill in. You know, we always keep in mind like who our regulars are. So you know, every company has, I would say, their regulars. I think we have about 6 people right now booked on pretty much every show for the end of the year, unless they were already booked or they have their sister's wedding or something, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
But we have about 6 people like that, and some have more. But since we don't have a school, like 6 is a good round number for us. Okay. And then we base the card across those 6 first, starting with who we believe will, you know, and there's obviously things that change. Injuries can take you in a different direction. Opportunities, you know, for, you know, Bruce Hamilton was originally announced for this show, and unfortunately for us, he got a really big opportunity, so he had to take that. So, and we, you know, he gave us enough time. It wasn't, you know, we knew, but
yeah,
he was respectful. So, there's so you have contingency plans. We are blessed that we are in Chicago, and that obviously Chicago itself, we can pull from Wisconsin, we can pull from Minnesota, we pull from St. Louis, Indianapolis, and we have Michigan a little bit, but we've now started pulling a little bit more from Cleveland, which has a really hot scene right now. Some of the names that the car loads that we can now pick up, you know, Sam Holloway, Sam Beal, Katie Arquette, Derek Dillinger, Wes Barkley. There's some real talent out there. Yeah.
Those are some real talented names.
Yeah. Now, before I go, I need a favor. I know you I told you on the pun and the joke guy and the punchline guy. Could you please book a triple threat match between a rabbi, a priest, and a minister? Just so I can be like, what happens when a priest and a minister and a rabbi walk into a wrestling match?
I don't know about the minister. I don't know about a minister.
Has to be in a bar.
We play a show every January at St. Demetrius Church, and the fans go crazy when the priest and I are in the ring. It is. And we take pictures. And this year we had Colt at the show, and he was fanboying out, and it was awesome. And I was like, Father, it's like, you know, the priest, the rabbi, and Colt Cabana, right? That's the closest we're gonna get, right? So they're so great. It's a rowdy group. But I will say this: they invited me to Greek Fest. I am not like I don't know so much about, you know, Greek Catholicism and all that stuff. I do want to go to church. I've told them it's not that easy because Sunday I have, you know, we have things here. But I said I was like, you guys know how to eat. And one thing Jews know how to do is eat. And we should figure out how to really think about it. The bagel and the spanakopita have never come together. And that could be
man.
That could be something. Maybe I'll work on that.
We have to do a watch along, JJ, just so I can make that joke if people extend triple threat.
Oh, we're doing a watch along.
So I'll tell you a good story. We have a guy who sits up a ring and sometimes wrestles for us. And we were talking yesterday. I asked him if he was going to be out in Vegas. And fortunately for him, he got some bookings out of town, not in Vegas, so he's not going.
Yeah.
And he said, but I told someone the rabbi's going to call him. I was like, you told him the rabbi? Like, did you? He goes, why'd you just call him the promoter? He goes, I go, wait. And then I said, wait, ... Is the rabbi in wrestling, the rabbi promoter, the rabbi in wrestling a thing? He goes, it's absolutely a thing. People, when I said that, people know what we're talking about. Like random people, I'm like, this is a thing now? I don't know. Well, whatever, I'll take it. Whatever sells tickets.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, something on here that we like to do, and we love the wrestling, we love it, but we really want to get behind the person. We feel like, we want people to relate and kind of know you personally. So my question would be, after a long kind of day of wrestling and being in the promoter head, what do you kind of do to distress, to get away, to kind of disconnect, and just tell us a little bit more about you outside of the wrestling business. We got the rabbi stuff, which is amazing. Talk to us a little bit more about like what you like to do, and again, what you kind of like to disconnect, how you kind of disconnect from wrestling.
Wrestling is my disconnection, in fairness, but I'm not. Mondays are my wrestling day. I spend most of my Mondays doing wrestling, cleaning up, booking the next show, working on venue, whatever details need to be. Usually after a show, I don't think this is because I need to de-stress. I think this is because I'm 44 and old. My body is old. My brain is 20. So I usually try to get some sort of massage, even if it's like going to one of those places like a massage chair, just to like stretch out my body. Ultimately, I love spending time with my kids and my wife. I have an amazing group of guy friends who I spend a good amount of time with. And I'm blessed to have some really deep buddies who, we joke about like, when we get really old, we're all buying a row in the old age home together. Cause like, the wives can go wherever they want. We're hanging out. Like, that's what we know. I watch a lot of comedy. I had a lot of like past lives hobbies. So I have the longest running Jewish sports blog that's a joke from Airplane, but also a real thing, which also allowed me to like cover the Super Bowl, and I got to cover the Final Four, and I got to cover NBA and WNBA, and I serve as like the team rabbi occasionally and do some stuff with Team Israel baseball Olympic team. So that's kind of cool. So I've been to 3 stadiums already this summer. So I'm trying to get to every Major League Baseball stadium. I'm a couple short. I'm like 6 short, I think, 7 short.
Rogers Center?
In Toronto? Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Toronto.
Okay.
I'm missing Houston, San Francisco, Anaheim, Oakland / Vegas. New Mariners, new Atlanta, and Detroit's the only one on this side. Then everywhere else I've been, new old Yankee. I'm trying to now get to the presidential libraries. I love them. I've been to like 6 of those. So that's kind of cool. I'd like to spend a lot of time in Miami if I can. It's like a home away from home for me.
Nice.
So I had a podcast that did, I think, fairly well for a while. It's a sad story, but my last interview was with Bob Saget, and then he died. And Bob and I became friendly. And he was like, he's my favorite comedian. So I was like, I don't fanboy about any wrestlers, but
you have to fanboy about Bob Saget.
My God. And he was
Bob
nice.
Saget. AFC never has been the same ever since Bob Saget went away.
Yes, agree. So he was as kind as could be. He let me into his world a little bit. I was recently sort of I advised on it, and that I'm sort of in it, a Batman comic. So I have some Marvel and comic book.
There's Walter going crazy.
And now
Walter, get the first night of Bat/Man by Dan Jurgens. Dan's a buddy of mine.
I got a comic store like 20 minutes from here. I am a Batman DC nerd, so the fact that you just did that made me go crazy.
The family, there's a rabbi in it. Batman meets a rabbi during like the late 30s, as the Holocaust was starting. And the rabbi as Dan said, I was like, is the rabbi me? He said, it's not you. So I said, I will happily advise on this comic as long as I can call myself the rabbinic authority to Gotham City. He said, deal. So,
that's awesome.
But the other family is named the Fines, which is obviously my name. So I like to do little things like that. I love business and human nature. I mean, that's really my podcast calls The Religion of Human Nature. I had a couple wrestlers on it randomly. I had Jim Brunzell and Zach Allen, and like I think ultimately what I love most is like meeting people. Like I think this is what makes the world better. I think what's going on in the world and the hardships we're feeling is that we are not socializing. We are not getting to know the person. And I think that's really hard, if I'm being honest, and maybe we're getting a little heavy, but as a Jewish person right now, I think other minorities certainly feel it. There you go. That's the Adam West.
Oh, here we go. Walter's pulling all the stuff out.
I'm telling you how much of a nerd I am. It's all over my room.
I love it, man. Now you're going to be like, I know that guy.
There you go.
So like building bridges and connections means the most thing in the world to me. I think, I'll be a little, this will be maybe too deep, but since the war in Israel started, some of became pretty close with a Palestinian guy and an Iranian guy. And we've talked about like how the world talks about us without knowing us and how difficult that is, right? Like not one of my friends and loved ones in Israel want war. They don't want that. They want peace. And my Palestinian friend just wants peace. And like, it's really hard to watch those kinds of things. So you got to keep building bridges. And even though there's been some hard times in wrestling because of whether I've seen anti-Semitic stuff or things like that, or racism of any sort, bigotry of any sort, I feel if I ever left, there'd be who would replace me, right? Like who would come in and fill the void of people like understanding that like, no, this is about coming together and building community and doing something really special. We have guys in our locker room who are, as far left on the political spectrum as can be and make that well known on whatever platform. And we have guys who, no doubt in my mind, voted for Trump, as did their whole family. And like, we still make a show work. We can all work together. We can all figure this out just because like, just treat people with respect, love your neighbor, and be kind and open your heart to meeting new people. And thankfully, wrestling is that. Now, there's some wrestling who's obsessed with cancelization, and I wish that would leave me personally. I'm not talking about like canceling really bad people, like people who not because you think they're bad, but people they are really bad.
Proven to be bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Not and right. Yes, exactly. Like, there's people who should not be back in wrestling, but they should, but I wouldn't harass them. Like, there's people who harass some of these people who were kicked out of wrestling. Like they still deserve to live. Like they're not in jail. So you may not like their behavior, but they didn't what they didn't. And so how do we're not embrace them in wrestling, but I shouldn't attack them if I see them, out trying to get a regular job, another job. Like they're not going to be in this world famous and making money off fans buying tickets. That's fine. But so how do we have people who like sort of stand up and say like, I can love you even if we have differences, and I wish more people would talk and not just tweet. And I'm here for that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well said, James. Follow that.
Follow that, buddy.
Yeah, really. I don't have much on that.
You have to go after
I agree
Babe
with
Ruth
everything you
after
said.
that.
James, I'll tell you something. One of my
Yeah,
favorite
really.
movies is Moneyball. So
Ooh,
that's
good
that's
movie.
well
There you go.
said. Oh, that's a great business movie. I just showed that to someone the other day. I showed him the scene where Billy Bean is talking to all the old guys around the table who are trying to replace Jason Giambi, and he's like, "You're asking the wrong questions," and he keeps going back. We're not replacing Jason Giambi, we're replacing his statistics and his on-base percentage, basically, and how everyone still thinks the same. And it's our job actually to be. We should all be Billy Bean. Like, not everyone has the Dodgers money.
No,
you all got to play baseball.
No, 100%. I'm more of a Goodwill Hunting guy myself. That's the type of and that's a good movie too, with a lot of life lessons. I wanted to just touch really quickly because you had mentioned him at the top of the hour. You mentioned Brian Clancy. I'm not necessarily talking about the injury, but it's just so refreshing because when I first saw Ryan Clancy, I was like, wow, what a talent! First of all. I just saw him at a few JCW shows. I was immediately sold on him. His wrestling ability, like, he's going to get every purist fan that loves grappling and wrestling, like pure technical ability. I feel they're going to love him for that. But then, he's also like squeaky clean, perfect, like goody baby face kind of energy in that he's great for families, like, and you booking him, obviously, I feel like was a no-brainer. But as a talent, I think that guy has got all the potential in the world. I wanted to know, what was your thought when you originally booked Ryan Clancy, even though things didn't pan out?
Yeah, so we really want. Okay, so the real thing for going into Mania, this is our second Mania show. The first was in a little different situation, but it was good to run it and learn from it. Listen, Mania shows are really complicated because you're competing with 70 shows. You're competing with WrestleMania. This year, there's less people there than last year. It's not cheap. And, if I'm being honest, unless fans totally come out and hopefully this podcast blows up our ticket sales, we may be short, but I really wanted to give some of our top talent, if they were going to be there, a platform to be bigger. Sean, no one bigger than Sean. The other one's Blair Onyx. She's also out. But so Sean Logan means a lot to Second Wrestling. Yeah. He's the standard of how you get in the door and how you work with Rabbi Fine and how you ascend to there's that word again, ascend to all of our shows, by the way, that have those kinds of names are biblical references, by the way. So so not the Comedy Bear show. They're in order of all of the there's lots of like little Jewish things that people know that just only those insiders. It's like insider baseball. Anyways, so
what you're saying is after Mania, you got to come back on the show so we can do this all over again. So we can
exactly. So my T-shirt, for example, I made like a mock Stone Cold that says "Fine 613" instead of 316. 613 are the amount of commandments in the Bible, but you only know that if you know that. So like, there's little things like that.
Oh my God, you got me thinking now. You got a wrestler that instead of the 5 moves of doom, they got to do the Torah, the 5 books of Moses.
There's none of that. It's only really my stuff. Like to do. So we wanted a top independent name for Sean, who wasn't driving distance. Because if he's driving distance, we could probably have him at a Second Wrestling show in Chicago. If I'm being honest, Ryan was the best one that wrote it. Yeah. And we connected and we worked out a deal and made sense for all parties. He was only good to work with. We only had a good experience. I really feel horrible for him. I think he's young enough and unique enough that he'll come back better.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it happens to some of the wrestlers when they're a little older, it's a little tougher because, at some point, father time comes for all of us. Like I did one match. I trained for it. People always say to me, "Are you gonna do another?" I'm like, you know what? But it would, I would have to drop 45 pounds. Like I can't. Because if I did it again, I got to do more than I did the last one. And so I've trained a little bit, nothing too extensive, but so it's very disappointing for him. Obviously, he was on a great run this whole year, 2025. He was easily one of the top independent wrestlers in the world, if not one of the top wrestlers in the world. I think he could fit into both companies. I think he could be a star off the bat at TNA right away. I think he's that good. And if not, he certainly seemed to be stock rising. It doesn't hurt that his best friend in this whole business is Marcus Mathers. He's also stock is rising. We had Marcus out. We had Marcus out. We're having him back in a little bit, but we had him out here this past. Him and David Ali tore up. It was the first main event at Cali Bear, and Marcus is a special dude, and there is something about him immediately when he steps into that ring. And I believe of all the IDs, except for maybe Laney and Mimi, but of the first batch, I think Marcus has the brightest future.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I just wanted to bring up Clancy because to your point, like that kid, he's going to come back from this. And I think if I basically am doing this almost as a PSA for any promoter, since you are one yourself, if you want somebody when he comes back from injury, get him on your shows because Ryan Clancy has got a bright future in his own right. I think he's got the total package, and I think you'd be lucky to have him.
Yeah, we've seen his stuff. I by accident, I bought IWTV to watch the life of. They do these like mini documentaries.
Yeah,
but
the recent one is Alex Shelley.
Okay, so I did it to watch Shaza, Billy, like all of our people. I was like Cole, Radrick. So I was like, it'd be fun to watch, their stuff and support them, right? And I by accident clicked annual pass instead of monthly pass. So I had IWTV for the whole year. And so I started watching some Beyond, and that's how I found Ryan Clancy.
Awesome.
So,
He's great. He's fantastic, man.
See, a blessing in disguise, and you did that by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's almost like God knew I wanted to do it. It's almost like I had a direct line.
There you go.
Well, while we're talking about the Mania card, let's go ahead and talk about some of these other matches because you've got a couple matches that are hilariously named. So I've got to put them over, like the We've Never Worked With You Before Scramble.
Yeah. Okay. So we decided. So when people started writing in. So remember, there's the rabbi side, and not just the promoter. I want to give everyone a spot that I can, that I think is respectful and all that stuff, right? And so I also want to see talent because I'm out there, so it's my chance to see people live, envision how my crowd would act. And so many of our people we've worked for reached out to us that they're going to be out there. Davina Thorne. I'm trying to think. Alfonso Gonzalez, a bunch of people in that. Jordan Cruz, and we really wanted to fit them all in. But like, I also know WrestleMania starts at like 3:00. The show, some people will go to an indie show and then go over there. I also know that I only have X amount of cards, spots on the shows, spots on the card, Right, and other companies we're only running, we're running 4 or 5 matches, and the companies are running the others. So they book their own. They book their own cards. There are some crossover talent, like we used Sophia Sivan. We've used Anakin Murphy a bunch, Maurice, but they're not on per se on our card. So once we had Sean as a match, once we had Blair who was unfortunately out too, her match. Then I was like, okay, well, what do we do here? Because it's not that I'm a disappoint, but I'm basically, I love these people. I want to give them work. So we created You've Worked For Us Before Rumble. Well, the problem with that is that I can't fit anyone who I want to see for the first time or who I felt deserved the spot for whatever reason. So we had You've Never Worked For Us Before Scramble. And there's some of the people who will be in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, that was going to be the next one I was going to ask you about because, to your point, we've booked you before Battle Royal or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, again, hilariously named, but continue.
And it's true. These are people who have worked for us before, come and how they've been in a second wrestling ring. And then there are people who had not. And I was like, okay, we can divide them this way. The difference is the Scramble is the pre-show. I'll be engaged in watching that. And we have this Ring of Opportunity. So we gave about 10 to 15 individuals who were next on the list. And we basically said, you come and help out, and I'm picking one of you.
That's it.
And whoever I feel is, and I'm only going to pick one because there's already a bunch of, unless someone no shows, but for the most part.
Yeah.
So all of those people were picked differently for the Scramble. Sal is Cheeseburger wrote a really nice recommendation about it. I think he's a student. CPA is someone I wanted to see for a long time and see what he could do for us. Effie also put him over.
Mm-hmm.
Katie Arquette is Cleveland, so that made sense for us. Justin Taylor, when I tell you, people tell me he's one of the most. I've never met him. Just DMs, right? But the amount of people who told me how wonderful this person is, I was like, okay, that sounds like someone I'd want to work with. And Lexa was I think the first person to respond to the post. So they all got that spot for a reason. And the last one will get one for the reason too. They showed up and they helped out and made themselves stand out at in the locker room, and that will matter to us. And we will pick one person there. And so the other matches, the Rumble and these are all Rumble people who we would book. Like, Davina's a regular for us. Alfonso was on our initial show, and now he's coming back for us a bunch. Junie and Journey have only done pre-show work for us. They drove in from Philly for one show and really loved working with them. They were so great. DTV is a hoot. And has helped us in he's come to a couple of our shows. He did our LA show. Frankie was on this last show. Jordan came in last year. I think it was last summer. He's great. Jordan is a phenomenal. I don't know if you guys have seen Jordan Cruz, but the guy can go. I mean, he is really talented. Milo's amazing. She's a West Coast person. She's been on three of our shows. She was just on our last Cubby Bear show. And there's a bunch since that. The funny thing is there's a bunch of guys who are going to be in Vegas, saw this, said, hey, you've booked us before. Can we get in that Rumble? So that's not the full picture.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes, there'll be a handful of surprises.
Junie I'm familiar with, and CPA I'm familiar with. I've actually seen CPA at a GCW show that I went to.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
CPA and we've seen him on Revolver as well. He's a fun. He's
if
a
you
fun
ever get
person.
writer's block or stuck on naming things that you need puns for, come to me.
You're the
fun guy.
I'm telling you, I already picture stuff. You come on, you got to get a faction with 7 people. Call it the Synagogue 7.
Oh my God!
I'm telling you, I fire them off, dude.
Yeah, I have thought about having like the Rabbi's crew, but that's too many flights to afford. Listen, this is like we've got some there's a good handful of top Jewish talent out there right now. I mean, obviously MGF is the very top.
Yeah.
But Jack Cartwheel, Royce Isaacs. I mean, I could have a deep crew. Chris Masters. I could have a deep crew some pretty. There's a tag team or Better Together, Ori and Hadar, Ori Gold and Hadar Horse. They're in Florida. They won't be in Vegas. They would have had a match on our card. They're amazing. They've been doing reality wrestling. They've been doing a lot of Ring of Honor. You should definitely check them out. They're awesome. My only way of sort of explaining them is like they're sort of the Jewish Bollywood guys. They're not. Their act isn't Jewish, but like they're Jewish. So I'm saying that they're awesome. They're killing it right now. And one of the nominated matches of the year for Second Wrestling was them versus the Infantry from AEW, and that show. That card had Colt and Effie on it. No, sorry, that was December. It had who did it have? It had who was the main event was David and Sean, but that show had Warhorse on it. It had it was crazy card, but they just lit the card up. I mean, they really. They're awesome. Better Together. They're starting to get everywhere.
There you go.
Definitely, we'll keep our eyes peeled for them. Talk to me a little bit about Sam Holloway's match.
Yeah. So this is sort of co between us and Tri-State, which is they haven't run in about 6-7 months, but they were out in Ohio, and so they have Jared and we have Sam. We've been trying to work with Sam for a little bit. Just hasn't worked out. He was in Vegas. He hit us up and said, okay, this is the time for us to figure this out. He's another talent that, drivable for us. So it made sense to put him on the card. Jarrett's a really talented dude. Many people, we haven't had him here, but a bunch of people have spoken very highly of him. And the promoter at Tri-State really loves Jarrett and asked, like you said, like, if we're going to book him, I want to make sure it's a match. And, they were all stoked. When we announced Clancy, Jarrett sent me a DM. He said, I want that match. And I said, patience, sir. Because I don't always tell them their matches. Like, I just post them.
Oh, okay.
So I said, patience, your match it's not Clancy, but it's good. And so, so he's there. That could steal the show. I think really any of the matches, I think, Logan from 01 is really talented. He's done some GCW. So that's the Anakin and Joey O'Reilly and Sophia Sivan. That's for the light heavyweight championship equivalent for 01, a shining light championship. So that match also is really good. Bobby Orlando versus Tyler is going to be awesome. Bobby's a special talent, and
Bobby's a gem.
Yeah, and Tyler too. So Tyler, I think, just had either WWE tryout or something like that, an ID match or something. So they'll have it. I mean, they're almost every match has a spot to really do something special. So we're excited, and we'll have another one or two talent we haven't announced yet that will be on the card, that they're sort of trickling in because of the Rumble. People are like, hey, wait, I want to be in this. So you've been booked. You've got a shot. You got to be here. Awesome. So, and we still got to find a competitor for Sean.
Well, that's the next one I was going to bring up. And, fans hear it all the time. A promoter's favorite phrase, card subject to change.
Yeah.
And here is a prime example of that. It was just announced earlier this evening. You touched on it earlier. I saw your post on Twitter about it. Torn ACL, torn meniscus for Ryan Clancy.
Yeah.
And now your main event has been thrown into a tailspin. You've got to scramble, pun intended.
Yeah.
Literally less than a week now until this match is supposed to take place. Take me through the promoter's mindset of trying to have to, right the ship and fix things when it's literally like this close to show date.
So there's three things that go in, for four things. First of all, I hope Ryan's okay. That's the first and foremost. I'm sure there are people who have canceled on us and lied, and this is not a lie. It's not a work. So our first our thoughts are with Ryan, and we made sure that I hope he feels that we supported him when he let us know. 2 is to make sure that title stays as important as I believe it is. Our champions have been Billy Starks, Eric Cannon, Missa Kate, David Ali, and Sean Logan. I put our championship belt against any belt that's out there on the independents. You're talking about arguably the best young talent was our inaugural champion. You're talking about a man who means so much to independent wrestling in Eric Cannon. Missa Kate is a former NWA tag champion. David is the longest reigning champion. And Sean is the current champion. So first and foremost, whoever it's going to be is someone that I trust in a main event to elevate that belt, because crazier things have happened than Sean retaining. That is not necessarily what will happen. Number 2 is to find someone that Sean is going to have a great match with, because we want that for our fans. So as much as we want the belt to be important, we also want to make sure like we're not, it's not a 20-second, choke slam, you're done, match over. We want to give the fans what they're paying for. And so even if the prestige was there, but it was a guy who couldn't wrestle anymore, we wouldn't do it because we want that belt to. So that's the third thing. And I think the fourth thing is really, we'll have an announcement tomorrow, but and the announcement will remind everyone, we are the Ring of Opportunity, and we are serious about this. We are the place you come and you work and you put in the effort. And if you put in the effort over time, if it makes sense, you will be rewarded. And Sean is the example of that. It would be really great if another Ring of Opportunity blast happened and we call out and say, who's the best on the indies and who wants to prove it? We'll get a lot of DMs who said I'm the best of the indies. Be like, you've worked 6 matches. You're definitely not the best of the indies, but right. Vegas is going to be full of talent. And, some have a guy wrote in today and I said, where were you a month ago when we posted these? You would have been booked. There's no doubt in my mind. You would have been booked. Now I don't have a spot on the card for you, but, if anyone's listening out there and wrestlers are listening, and fans, let us know who you want. And, Jordan Cross, who's one of our tag champions, got on our card because we put a thing out for fans who's not getting enough bookings in Chicago that people want to see. And overwhelmingly people said Jordan Cross, and now Jordan's been with us ever since.
That's awesome.
Voice your opinions. You never know.
Yeah. And be reasonable. Don't tell me your passport ready. That's key. I don't need to know your passport.
And to your point, if this is a work, then it's an elaborate work. I mean, Ryan posted that. So it's
it's a work, all right.
Hell of a work.
Yeah. If it's a work, I'm going to have some conversations with Beyond for pulling my talent.
Then he knows somebody that really knows how to work an X-ray.
He also is he was full. He had a very busy Mania week. It wasn't just us. We were his final match, I think. But
I'm so sad for him, man. Please get well, Ryan Clancy.
Yes, sir. JJ, we got more matches to preview.
I mean, the only other one that I had the graphic up for, he kind of touched on a little bit, the Shining Light title.
Yeah.
Anakin Murphy and then the 3 other competitors.
Yeah.
Anakin Murphy is one that we're somewhat familiar with, him and Gary J, Unsigned and Don't Care. They've been calling themselves.
Yeah. So Anakin has worked plenty, a bunch of times for us. He's booked in the future too. And Anakin is blown up in the Midwest right now. Really has had I actually don't know that anyone started off the year of 2026 in the Midwest hotter than Anakin Murphy. So good for Anakin. And this is a big shot. Sophia Stevon's been with us. I know her well. She's great, really up and coming. She was really Florida based, and last year and a half really traveled a lot more. She went over to Japan. She's come to Chicago a bunch. So she's doing great stuff. I'm not so familiar with Joey Riley. I do know that the promoters at 01 are very high on Joey, and we'll have our eye on all four of them, but specifically Logan and Joey, who we don't know. So I'm excited to watch that match as a fan. The ones that I didn't book, I'm a little more excited to watch because, I have nothing at stake. I just want. So I think that also that'll be back half of the card. Really could have been the main event type caliber match. So and then Jada needs a new opponent, but that's already. I'm not announcing it, but that's already been booked. So our love goes out to Blair. Hope she's doing okay.
These are coming together.
Yeah. So Walter and I are going to be in Vegas. We were contemplating going to a different show on Sunday, but we may have to come and check this out now that we've had you on and everything. Come meet you in person.
You said a word there that I didn't love. You said may have to come check that out.
You
have to come. First,
I only say that because with all the other shows we're going to be doing, we may be exhausted come Sunday.
Nah, you won't. You'll be fine. Here's what I'll tell you about two things about Second Wrestling. Number one is you're going to get to see a load of talent who not everyone's recycling. Okay? That's number one. And number two is after Mania, our first Mania show, do you guys know Val Pancakes?
No.
Do you know who that is? She's sort of like an internet wrestling big fan, but she has a good wrestling following. So she came up to me and she goes, I want to thank you for Second Wrestling. I said, why is that? She goes, it's the cherry on top of Mania Week. I said, what do you mean? She goes, there were blood and there were guts and there were all women and there were spooky shows and lucha shows and midget shows and da-da-da-da-da. She's like, this was just like great professional wrestling. And she goes like, this was the cherry on top and everyone needs to end their Mania weeks with Second Wrestling. So that's why in the tweet today, it said the cherry on top. That's from Val. I believe that. I believe that like we are not just family friendly, but like we are professional wrestling where these independent, if you look at our first Mania show, Jack Cartwheel, Royce Isaacs, QT Marshall, Brogan Finley before he was signed, Brittany Brooks before she had good gear. I mean, she was like, no one knew who she was. BYP, Bodie, Simon Miller. I mean, we were his only booking. If you look at our card from our first Mania show and you look at what came out of that, I believe this will be even bigger than that. So that's the plug.
There you go.
Hey, that's a good hard sell. That's a good hard
And you get
sell.
a direct connection, Walter. You got God questions. I can just ask them right away, or her, or it. I don't know.
There you go.
I mean, if you need a commentator, you can throw him on color. He'll have all the puns for you while the puns going on.
That's true. It's true.
So, I mean, great that JJ brought that up. I want to quickly, your commentators for your shows are who exactly? We
don't have regular commentators. So no? what we did? So our early shows.
Do you need commentators for Vegas?
Do we need commentators? No, so we don't do live commentary because we're not streaming. So yes. We first of all we believe we're a ticket-based organization. So we don't put a ton of money into post-production. What you've seen is a variety of different iterations, meaning a variety of different people doing it. So at the beginning, we were releasing, we were just releasing some matches. Then we went on Premiere, which was trying to compete with like IWTV. It was like Josh Chernoff and Freddie Pritch Jr. They fold. So then we had this guy Max Roth and DJ Danielson. And then I think one time it was this one of our guy who's with us a lot, Jason Midas, who's a local guy, but doing all those shows. Premiere sort of scrapped that, changed their business model, and they're not a streaming service anymore in that way. And then we started just releasing matches again, and more shows. So right now we have what's called Second Take. I think there's been 2 episodes. The third one,
yes, I saw that on YouTube. Yeah.
So those are just matches maybe some stories in between, maybe some promos when we have them. But it's really just a way for our fans to say, okay, we have this catalog of matches. We did a poor job. We also then have some shows that Max Roth, who was one of the commentators, I forgot the other guy's name already, we're doing. So those are from last summer. We just, as of last show, have a new person doing the filming. So we will see what he comes back with and where we proceed from there. So it's been a mix. We do tell that to our fans that like the way to see Second Wrestling is to come to a show and to subscribe to our YouTube page, because we will put matches up and some will have commentary, some won't. We feel like, listen, we know, we look in the mirror and know who we are. We are not a major indie. We are a mid-sized indie that does, I think, really great wrestling at really cool venues. And the coolest thing about us is if you're one of our favorites, you get to travel with us at least once a year. My favorite wrestlers. So we've got a Vegas show, we have a Michigan show, we have a Wisconsin show. We've played LA twice. We've played Orlando. We'll have an Orlando. Shaza knows that I have to book her on my next Orlando show because she's begging me for a Second Wrestling trip to Disney. And I said, okay, but just so you know, you might have to pretend to be Jewish for that show because it's usually a Jewish show in Orlando. So we do some of that. We even did a bit, Walter, this is true. We did a biblical Jacob show where all the stories were the story of the Bible from Jacob. That was fun to write.
That's pretty sick.
I bet it would be.
That's pretty
good. Because like one of the things we do here is we do watch-alongs for shows.
Yes.
So if your stuff is all like, filmed in advance, like we can always just add our commentary over it for you.
Yeah, really. If you got nothing else, well, I'll do it for free.
James,
that would be a great opportunity.
James
I love
and
that
our
word.
other
Free's my favorite word.
James and our other friend that we have that's part of our team, Noah, they do a great job in doing a lot of commentary. Noah and Walter and me for a brief time were doing the Dynasty watch along last night, and these guys they kill it every time. So I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna change it up. So usually I ask a food question, but I'm not gonna ask a food question today because we recently had another promoter on the show, and we got him to do something that by the end of it, I wanted to run through the wall for him. So I'm going to do the same thing for you. The talent that you have booked for Vegas may or may not be watching this. So, give us your rah-rah speech. Like, listen, let these talents know, what are these talents, come prepared. Give us that kind of what you're expecting from these talents come this weekend. Floor is yours.
Well, it's funny because I used to be a high school basketball coach who was really intense, right? So, and more like Bobby Knight than I am a rabbi. So my speech is this is a grand opportunity. There are different people there. There are different promoters watching. There are different companies watching. You want to put your best foot forward with your partner in that ring, however many it is. And if you use the most amount of time you have, a lot of time to shine. I give little notes at every show, and I haven't decided who, but almost every one, I choose a different match, and I say, go out and seal the show and set the bar high. One of the coolest things that's been happening in Second Wrestling is that bar is going higher every show. Our last Cubby Bear show was insane. It was in top to bottom, insane. So this is Mania season. We are the last show on the weekend. Let's have an insane show. But I'm also a foodie. You can ask me foodie questions. I'm a Disney foodie. I'm a foodie, and I've been a vegetarian since I was 6 years old.
Well, the food question.
Quickly, Nick.
Quickly. Then the food question would be day of the show. You're getting ready to go. What's your pre-match meal or pre-show meal? And if you don't have a pre-show meal and you kind of don't eat until after the show, kind of get everything out, what's your post-show meal?
I don't have that, but I do have a pre-show routine with food.
Okay, here we go.
About 20 ounces of coffee, usually cold brew with oat milk. Then before every show, I eat a Snickers bar and 2 big Gatorades. Usually one lemon lime, one blue. And the reason I do that is because after my first show setting up, my best friend who was helping me with the show looked at me and he goes, "You are white as a ghost. You look like I couldn't feel it. He's like, you look like you're going to pass out." And so he's just started bringing me drinks. So now since the first show, I've always had a Snickers bar and 2 large Gatorades before we start so that I am hydrated. Usually you'll find me scarfing down a couple pieces of pizza at some point during the show.
There you go. Here you go.
Hey, it's Chicago. You got to do the pizza.
Yeah, you got to.
Now, Roni or cheese for you?
Oh, I've been a vegetarian since I was 6 years old.
Okay.
So wait, you're not in Boston, you're just a Boston fan?
Oh no, I'm in Boston. I'm a
Boston. You're in Boston.
So getting a cow, all that. Yeah.
All right. So I just went to this place called Lair House. It's actually a kosher restaurant. And have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there once when there was a friend of mine that was Jewish, and they took me, and it was so good. That was
so
actually
good.
really good food.
And they have an amazing vegetarian Reuben, and I've been dreaming about that. Oh, I almost want to go back to Boston just for that. They have a really cool bar, and they have
book a show just to come back to Boston.
Yeah, I would love to do. Tell Beyond. They're like, let's do a crossover. That's what we love to do. We love to think differently, the camp shows for us, or the playing at Cubby Bear. We literally, our locker room overlooks Wrigley Field. Our talent was just asked to be booked on those shows so they can get the pictures outside Wrigley Field. I mean, we just try to do things a little bit differently off the beaten path so that people can find us. The fact that we've had LA shows, these things we do. Last year we did they called the Interstate Classic with Wrestle Arts Indy in Indianapolis, where we had 8 women compete in a tournament cross state. So some of the matches happened at Wrestle Arts and some of them happened by us. We brought some of our people down to Miami to be on CCW. So David Ali and Heather Monroe, and Heather wrestled Nikki Blackheart, who's now not at CCW anymore, and I think going somewhere. So we would do that. We would love to do something with Beyond. We would love to do stuff here. We put out a tweet about a Chicago collective today that got 10,000 views, and I'm like, oh crap, do we have to do a collective now? So many people responded, and Chicago, unfortunately, I was on this podcast with 4 other companies. Yeah, 4 other companies from Chicago, and talking about this. And they haven't done this, and it's been very territorial. And we're not. We want first-time matchups. We want your champion versus the other team company's champion, because you guys won't book them. We'll book them. So we just had Devon Monroe versus Rafael Quintero. They tore it up. They had never wrestled before. That was former freelance champion, CSW champion. They were in a second wrestling ring. And now this will be the 3rd time they're wrestling this weekend. So we started a trend here, because those two guys are 2 of the hottest in the Midwest. Why are they not on every? They should have a battle of 40 matches by now against each other. They should be each other's rivals. So we're open. You tell your promoters to hit us up. We will try to, as long as it makes some sort of financial sense to us, where I'm not losing my company over this, we'll figure it out.
Yep, fair enough.
That's the way.
I'll always eat a vegetarian Reuben.
There's a place in Connecticut, Edge of the Woods. They have a vegan Reuben sandwich.
Here we go.
Tempeh Reuben. I make them myself. I know how to make them. They're great.
There you go.
There you
More
go.
people should follow that model, and just get out there and work with each other,
Yeah, we're all better for it. I mean, we really are. I mean, obviously the things you can't do, we wouldn't, we've had people defend our belts at other companies. When we say to the other companies, we just want the pictures. That's it. That's not unreasonable. you want to share the footage, that would even be great. But like, we want to promote it, and we want to promote that our title went. So we did that with when we were first running, we put Billy on a DFW show. DFW is a Texas promotion. Lou Gatto, good guy. And she wrestled Rochelle Chanel, and they had a total banger on a Mania card. Like, I think that helped them, and I think it helped us. Why would we not do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it makes our belt more important. It gives Billy a great match. It makes it sharpens, iron sharpens iron. We get the connections to the promoter, and since then, by the way, we have brought in Corey Steed as a DFW kid. So we've brought in DFW talent because of our connection to DFW. We have CCW. We would do the same thing. We have a great connection with the promoter there. And now one of the perks of our show is that we have these relationships with these other companies now where, like, hey, Logan, if you survive that 4-way match, come defend your light shining championship at Second Wrestling.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing. And kind of just to put this all into a nice bow, again, I want to say thank you, because if you guys didn't reach out to my tweet, I really don't think this would have happened. And like I said in that tweet, good people attract good people. And you're not just good people, you're great people. And like I said, from here on out, when you come on our show, we've really made it a point to say you are family. So if there's ever another time you want to come on, ever a time that you want to preview a card, we got your back.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. And the big key here, Nick, is that Walter and JJ come to our show.
Yeah.
Listen.
Look, after that hard sell you gave, I think we're teetering from may come to we'll be there.
I promise you'll have a good time. There's no one leaves a wrestling show without not having a good time.
And definitely, I don't want to undersell like we're not going to enjoy ourselves. But if we do have a blast, then definitely the next time you come to LA, because I'm a SoCal guy. So I can get to LA with little to no problem. Walter is in Northern California, so it's a little bit more of a journey for him. And then obviously, Boston and Toronto, Canada, but LA, I live like, half hour from Barstow, on the way to Vegas. So like, it's about an hour and a half drive from me down to LA. It's not that big a deal.
That we had, my hope is that we will. We had a great thing. Our first show our first show was the Mania show. The second show in LA did very well, but we were at like this a synagogue, but it has like a community center kind of thing. And the executive director loved it, and we were booked to do another show. But then the executive director left the organization, and they didn't bring it back. So, I could see us doing it again. We are, we have a very heavy schedule this year, which is usually I'd be looking for more shows. And I got a call today about another show. So like, it'd be hard to add travel, especially with, I work on weekends. So I would have to like figure out, but yeah, I'm not opposed to it. My first cousins are all in LA and my aunt. So like, I love going out there because I've done it my whole life, and I get to see, their kids, which are their little, and I get to hang out with them, and I can see them only once or every other year. So if I get an extra chance to come out to LA, I'm happy to. So
Second Wrestling in Canada, just saying.
Let's do it. I have a bunch of rabbis in Toronto that I pitch all the time, and they think I'm crazy, but I'm like, guys, you just don't know what you're missing. So you never know. Like, we didn't think we'd be here, and we don't know where we'll be. And so we would happily go to Canada if we could. I admittedly am a little bigger of a fan of Montreal than Toronto, but I'll do both.
Oh, there you go.
That's what it is. Let's do it. JJ,
we've kept you for almost 2 hours, sir. So want to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for all of the time that you gave us, you know, the wisdom, the journey inside of a booker's brain. You know, it's not every day that a fan can kind of get to peek inside the ins and outs there. Go ahead and tell everybody one more time where they can find you on social media. Hype your show one more time. You know, where's it going to be on Sunday? What time? Doors, bell, the whole nine, you know?
Let's do it.
Sure. Everything is at Second Wrestling, second with a 2 instead of an S at the beginning. Second Wrestling. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Doors are at 11:30. There will be tickets at the door. They do go up in price at the door, but they'll be. It's a big arena, so we'll have tickets at the door. And doors are at 11:30. Shows there'll be a pre-show, but then the show start at 12. And we hope to get people out close to bell time for Mania in case they want to go see Pat McAfee, I guess. No, not Pat. I think he's on night one. So he's on night one. So you know, we do travel a little bit. So we're coming up to Michigan and to Watersmeet this summer. We hope to be back in LA as soon as we can. Actually, we love going there. And we do camps. We do like kids summer camps. We do a bunch of them. We do community centers, synagogues, churches. But we also do bars and arcades and malls and So and the most important thing for us is like keep an eye on our talent. Sean Logan, Blair Onyx, the Punk Rock Jocks, Nick Codis, Davina Thorne, who's on the show, David Ali, really good people and really strong talent, and give them a follow. And a lot of them doing really good stuff.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We're going to pull you out the stream real quick, wrap it up, and then we'll pop you back in just for a final farewell and let you on your way. All right. So just don't go nowhere. All right. Thank you again to Rabbi Fine for 2 hours of his time.
Yes, sir.
So awesome. Make sure that you go out there, support. Make sure you follow him on the social medias. Tune in to Simply Predicting, which should be getting ready to start as they predict night 1 of WrestleMania. And we will catch you guys next time.